Now in this lecture, we'll make use of identity services to allow users to log in to our application. For that, what we have done is we have created a login.cshtml page just inside the account directory, views account login.cshtml, and here also we are making use of tag helpers and login view model. So here you can see we are asking user to provide their email address and password, and the checkbox is there for remembering them so that next time when they log in, if they have this checkbox checked, they'll be automatically logged in. Now, going to the login view model, you can see we have email address, password, remember me, and most of the attributes that we had in a register view model are used here as well. For instance, for email address, we are making use of required email address display name, and for password, we are saying required and data type as password. So this is our login view model. Next, what we have done is in our account controller, we have made use of sign-in manager. Now, sign-in manager is used for users to log in using identity services. So we have an instance of it provided in the constructor, and then we are assigning it over here, sign-in manager. Next, we have created a view login. So this is a get method which will be called, and it will just provide a new login view model. Then we have a post for the same, and here we are passing the login view model, and return URL is the URL from which the user was sent back to the login page, and we are validating. If model state is not valid, we are simply returning a blank view. Otherwise, we are proceeding, and here also you can see we are making use of asynchronous task action result because sign-in manager's password sign-in async method is asynchronous, and for that we have to make use of await keyword. Finally, the result is there, and if there is any error, we are adding it to the model error and returning an empty view. Otherwise, we are simply returning the user to the return URL. If the return URL is not there, then the user is being sent to the home page. We have also included a logout method, which is just a post method, and here you can see we are saying sign-in manager dot sign out asynchronous, and finally returning the user to the return URL, or if the return URL is not there, then they are being redirected to the home index. One more thing we have done, and that is in our layout.cshtml page, we have checked whether user is authenticated or not, and if they are authenticated, they will be able to see a logout link. Otherwise, they'll see the login link over here. Now let's go ahead and execute this. So here we'll click on the login link, and you can see we are getting the login page. Click on create a new account, and here we are now on the register page. Once we have entered the email address and password, we can click on create new user, and here you can see the validation checks are coming up. So we'll have to adhere to these validations. Once we have adhered to the password validations, let's click on create new user. To resolve that error, what we need to do is in our package manager console, we have to provide these commands: add migration and IT. We'll also have to provide the context using which this command will be executed. Context, identity data context, and you can see the identity data context is actually provided in our startup.cs file. So this is what we have to provide over here. Next, we'll have to also execute this command, update database, and then the context, identity data context. What it is going to do is it will create all the necessary identity service tables in our database. So here, if I now go and refresh this, you'll notice these tables have been created. And now if I go ahead and try registering a new user, it will be working properly. So I'll click on login now, and here I'll create a new account. I'll click on create new user, and there you go. The user has been created. Now let's try and log in. Here I'll enter the password. Click on login, and here you can see it says logout, and then the email address is coming up, contact@skillbakery.com. Now if I go ahead over here, You'll notice the course page is now accessible. Remember, we had placed authorized attribute on top of the action method, and it validates that the user is logged in and they are able to access this page. Now in the next lecture, we'll see how we can restrict cross-site request forgery.